Hey guys, this is Sergey Belov with Time Value of Tennis, and today's topic is going to be how to generate topspin on different grips. So we're going to look over all the grips, all the possible grips, and how to generate topspin on those. And before we get into the video, guys, just look on the link below and look at the products that we use. You can purchase it through the Amazon account. Just click on the link and look at the products that we use for our videos. Alright, the first grip we're going to talk about is Continental grip. Nowadays, I don't believe many people use it, but there is a possibility of generating topspin on your Continental grip. So how do you find that grip? You're going to have your racket out in front of you, just going to slide your hand under, and you're going to grab the racket. Now you can see I put numbers on it. So you can see number 1, that's the edge of the racket. My V of my hand is going to go right on that top, and that's how we find Continental grip. Okay, so now, maybe looking at professional players, who does generate topspin of Continental grip? Gasquet would be the closest one out of all the players. I feel like he has almost Continental, more Eastern or whatnot, but he actually hits the ball. Now, how do you get the topspin? So what are you gonna do? You're gonna brush the ball straight up. It's more old school. A lot of people are gonna catch the ball a little bit on the top of the racket and try to brush the ball on all the strings. Again, that grip is very challenging to generate spin. It's still possible. The point of contact might be a little bit closer than other grips, because if you keep the ball way too in front of you, the racket will be actually open and it will be really hard for you to generate topspin. So a lot of times you might bring your racket up over your head or just brush it over, but the point of contact will be way too close. Alright, now we're going to talk about Eastern grip. So we go from Continental to Eastern grip. So if you look at your racket, it has all these edges. So I put numbers on it. So this is 1 for Continental grip. So we're holding there. And then we're going to just move V of our hand 1 spot to the right if you're a right-handed player. And it's going to be just mirror for the left-handed players. So this is going to be an Eastern grip. Now, it's a little bit easier to generate topspin with the Eastern grip. Obviously, the racket is a little bit more closed. You still have to get under the ball. You can have the small loop, small C before you swing. Keep your wrist back. Make sure you don't swing your wrist much, otherwise the racket is going to open. But then when you get under, you can keep the ball a little bit more out in front of you. And you're going to brush up and pull it across with a windshield wiper. You can see Federer sometimes uses Eastern grip. Del Potro uses Eastern grip. Federer is the guy who actually changes grips a little bit during his match, but Del Potro is the one who probably hits the most of that Eastern grip and generates quite a bit of topspin, sometimes up to 3,500 RPM. So that grip would be useful. But obviously, Eastern grip uses more for flat shots. A little bit flatter. So if you want to generate even more RPM, more spin on it, you probably want to go to the next grip that we're going to talk about. So now we're going to talk about, we talk about Continental, we talk about Eastern grip. Next one is semi-Western grip. So I'm going to look again at my grip. So we have 2. This is the Eastern grip. We're going to put V of our hand on the edge of the racket, on the side of the racket. We're going to hold it right here. That's the semi-Western grip. Nowadays, this grip is used the most among tennis players because it generates topspin naturally, just the way you hold the racket. You can get a lot of topspin just swinging nice and easy without even thinking. You still have to have a small C, get your racket under the ball, brush it up and pull it with the windshield wiper. You still have to use your legs, use your core, but semi-Western grip, probably one of the ones they use the most, and you can get a lot of spin without even trying really. And now we're going to talk about Western grip. Now we're going to the extreme of our grip on the side. So With the Western grip, it could be a little bit challenging because you're holding your racket, as I'll show you now. So this was a semi-Western grip. Now we'll take one more spot. View of the hand goes on number 4, which is the bottom of the racket. It could be almost like your backhand grip, but one-handed backhand grip, but on the forehand side. So this is more extreme grip now. And you can see how I turn my racket. So a lot of times players with that kind of swing will have to bend their elbow a little bit. It's kind of hard to extend it. As you can see, my wrist is going to be bended otherwise. So they will have a little bit bended wrist. They'll have extreme amount of topspin. But sometimes the challenge could be on the slice ball, the ball that comes low. It's a little bit hard to bring the ball up. They'll have a little bit maybe easier time to generate spin off the higher ball. But you still get a tremendous amount of topspin on that shot. Some people manage to hit even the flat ball a bit if you drive the ball right through it and pull across your body. But this is probably the ones they use the most for generating extreme amount of topspin. Unfortunately, you won't get as much pace on some of the shots that you could generate from, for example, from semi-Western or Eastern grip. Now we're going to talk about the last grip on your forehand. It's extreme Western grip, and this is very extreme grip, very challenging for some of the people. A lot of people do not use it. It's very hard to get it, but some people just naturally grab the racket like that. So now we look at the hand. So if we go Continental grip right on top, you go all the way around where you find number 5, or you can hold it Continental, but instead of hitting with this side of this racket, you're going to actually hit the ball with this side of the strings. You're going to completely flip it. So this is very extreme. Again, you're going to find some of the players tucking their elbow in a little bit. It's really hard to extend your arm. Now, those lower balls are going to be even more challenging to bring them up. Although there's some players, they have, they feel comfortable with that grip and they still can generate. Now, you can generate a lot of RPM. If you want to generate the most amount of RPM, you will get the most out of this grip. Now, the pace might be not as sufficient as, for example, on Eastern grip or whatnot, so you might get a lot of RPM but a lot less pace with that grip, but it generates a lot of topspin on that ball.